And now it's time to talk about Navi, our next generation GPU.
Oh, I really want to know what happened to the 3950X. Oh yeah, I'm going to show you guys a video earlier. Dog. Yeah. All right. Fingers crossed.
Are you guys excited about Navi? All right. So look, Navi is now called our affectionate Radeon 5700 series. And this GPU is designed brand new from the grounds up for gaming. And like we did with the CPU side with Zen, it was really, our vision to take a fresh look at the GPU architecture. The RX 5700 really starts with our brand new Radeon DNA or RDNA architecture. And this architecture was, again, designed from the grounds up, completely for gaming. And you might ask, what did we focus on? We focused on architecture, we focused on design improvements, we focused on delivering more gaming performance with faster clock speeds and more performance per clock. And all of this at lower power. Also with PCI Gen 4 as the world's first gaming GPU. So let me share some of the motivation of our engineers around RDNA. Look, we've had incredible success with the GCN architecture around Vega. And do you guys love Vega?
Meh.
And it's done really, really well in the market.
Vega, actually.
But frankly, we thought it was time to build a brand new architecture for gaming,
just slightly
like we did on the CPU side. And our thought process was really, for the future of gaming, we need a flexible and scalable architecture to go across every gaming platform. And that means we have all new stuff. We have a new compute unit design, we have new caches, we have a streamlined graphics pipeline. But what that means to you from a gaming standpoint is that we are seeing a 25% increase in graphics performance per clock cycle.
50% performance per watt.
And a 50%
lot better.
Increase in performance per watt.
That's what they
RDNA.
needed to change.
So are you excited about RDNA?
Yes.
Now, we love architectures, but we love products even more. So it's really exciting when you see the product in action. Let's take a look.
Yep, this is definitely the design. Well, those leaks were absolutely right.
All right, E3.
Okay.
Meet the Radeon RX 5700 XT.
Very nice. It definitely looks good. Not a big fan of blower, though.
Is that gorgeous
looks
or
pretty
what?
cool.
All right, look, we are so proud of the 5700 XT, and all of you are going to fall in love with it as well when you hear all about the incredible engineering, both inside and out, on the GPU. Now, what can I tell you? The 5700 XT is delivering leadership performance in its class. So there's so much for us to tell you. Let me invite Scott Herkelman, our head of the Radeon gaming business, to come take it away. Scott?
It does look like it fell.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you. All right.
Looks pretty cool, though.
Hello, Los
I don't know.
Angeles. Hello, gamers. Hello, welcome to E3. I'm so excited for you to all be here. We have been working on this GPU for quite a long time, and it is a pleasure to finally finally unveil it to you. I've been reading all the Reddit, Twitter threads. I watch all the streamers who talk about GPUs all the time, and there's always these rumors. But it's more fun to just show you the product itself. So let's go ahead and get started on the specs. 40 compute units, up to 9.75 teraflops, 8 gigabytes of GDDR6, a boost clock of 1905, and a game clock of 1755. Now, game clock is a new terminology, and that's what you're going to average see in a game on our game clock when you're playing most games.
That's what I
It's a new one
figured.
for you, and we'll talk to you a little bit more about that after the show. And then a 1605 base clock. But that's not, we didn't just stop there. Of course, it all includes the new RDNA architecture. Of course, it's on the 7-nanometer process. And of course, is the first GPU, gaming GPU in the world, to support PCI Express 4.0. So now let's take a look a little bit under the hood. We've spent a lot of time and effort to redesign our thermal shroud for you. And the redesign of that application was for a few reasons. We want it to be cool and quiet. We also want to give you the ability to overclock this GPU to its full potential. So this includes a power supply support connectors of 1 by 8 pin.
I
and
thought
a 1
I
by
saw
6
an
pin
8
for
and
your
a
power
6.
supplies. And then my
That's
favorite
different from
part
what
of the
we-
thermal
what we
shroud
originally
besides the
heard.
design is the 7-phase digital power system, ready for most of you like me who are really looking forward to overclocking this GPU to its full potential. What do you think about that?
Meh, we'll wait
Now-
for third party.
That's all great, but I know every gamer in here and every gamer on the stream watching is like, yeah, but show me the performance.
No,
Fine,
the
I
price.
will. Let's do it.
That's what we want.
Okay, let's go ahead and start
the
the demo.
price.
This next demo is a game called World War Z. It's one of my favorite games that just came out in April. And if you haven't played this game, over 2 million gamers bought and played this game across the world. Fantastic amount of people for Saber Interactive to get into the game. Thousands of zombies run at you. You can stand behind a Gatling gun and mow them down. So if you haven't played it, you should definitely try it. But on the, what you can see here on the right is the 5700 XT running in 1440p against the RTX 2070, the same product in its class. And an amazing result, 117 frames per second versus our competitors' 102 frames per second. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, just in order of transparency, this is best. So a lot of you know that gamers sometimes play on DirectX 11. Sometimes gamers play with DirectX 12 enabled. Sometimes gamers play with Vulkan. We've just taken the best score from each of the GPU manufacturers, and we said, put the best versus the best. So that way there's no trickery, and you can see that in its class, in the $499 class, the RX 5700 XT beats the competition and beats it consistently. Now, for our second announcement today is a brand new product called the Radeon RX 5700. It's got 36 compute units, up to 7.9 teraflops, also 8 gigabytes of GDDR6, a boost clock up to 1725, and a game clock of 1625. And now what you'll want to see next is where will this one be positioned? How does it compete against our competitor in a popular game? In this space, we know a lot of you play esports. So what I would like to show you next, and let's go ahead and roll the demo, is the Radeon RX 5700 against the nearest competitor, the GeForce RTX 2060. This is actually Apex Legends, playing at 1440p. And one of the most heaviest things you can do in Apex Legends is throw thermite grenades. And that's probably one of somebody's friends just really taking a whole bunch of thermite grenades right at their feet and burning them. But the ending result of the 5700 against the 2060 is 88 frames per second versus 72 in esports. What do you think?
That's not bad.
Very good. So now let's take a look at the data. Again, fast.
Okay,
no matter
much
the
better.
API. Their fastest versus our fastest. Nothing to see here, but what you can, nothing trickery to see here for the gamers watching on the stream or in the audience. But what you can see here is that up to 10% faster than the RTX 2060 in the top 10 games that have launched in the last year. Truly leading performance in its class. Now, gaming performance is amazing, and I had to get that in front of you quickly because I wanted to get you excited about how much we put in just in terms of raw performance. All that comes from our new gaming architecture. All of that is a standard with our new RDNA architectures and all the features that we put into the process of making the chip. And of course, there's some other things I'd like to talk to you about, like game fidelity and gaming dynamics, some new features and feature sets that over the next few months, as you start to see this product in market, you'll see this adopted by our game developers that we'll have on stage in a little bit to talk to you about. So let's go ahead and dive into the Navi GPU family features. So RDNA, Lisa mentioned this a little bit ago, is our brand new grounds-up architecture built for the Navi GPU family, and the first products in that family are the 5700 series. Comes standard on the 7-nanometer process.
The first products.
Support for GDDR6, and again, first in the family of GPUs for gaming to support PCI Express 4.0. And then we also have two new features that we're launching with the Navi family, which is the Radeon Media Engine for 4K encode, 4K decode, and also FreeSync HDR support, and then the Radeon Display Engine. So that will support DisplayPort 1.4 with display stream compression, as well as a whole bunch of other features and cabling systems. So that way, as you look towards buying new monitors, you can use the Navi family of GPUs to get the best refresh rates, the highest resolutions, and of course, increased bandwidth to any virtual reality headset. So that's the Navi GPU family features. So like many of you in here, you know that AAA gaming is the golden standard of any GPU. You care about high fidelity. How does the game look and feel when you're in there? High resolution. Can I play this at 1440p? Can I play it at 4K? And of course, all those things combined with a fluid 60 frames per second gaming ultimately matters to how you actually feel in that game. So let's talk about one of the first new features that we're going to introduce today here at E3. So the very first feature is FidelityFX. It is our game developer toolkit that we provide on GPU Open. It's a website that we manage and run. So that way game developers, a lot of them here at E3, can go to this website and download FidelityFX and use all of the post-processing effects that make AAA games look great in game, and they can start integrating that into not only their engines, but also the games that they're building. So we are announcing that today. We're here with all the fantastic game developers, and we even have a few on the stage coming up in a little bit that'll talk to you more about this. But I wanted to do a quick thing first. You'll want to hear more from them about it, but let me just show you what some of these effects look like on screen. So as you can see here, this is a racing game, and we have FidelityFX off and on. And it's just a subtle way to show you that if you've ever played a lot of driving games, you do know and you want to see that street below you. Where are you out in the corner? How far are you away from the corner? How fast do you feel like you're moving? And so the FidelityFX provides that little bit of extra detail in low contrast areas where normally it might seem a little blurry. We add that little crispness and sharpness so you feel like you're more.
Man, they're going to wait to price till the very end, aren't they?
It's a very easy thing for us to do with this new RDNA architecture because we have more performance for the game, and we're able to not only increase the sharpness, but also implement it while keeping your frames per second high. So this is a before and after of FidelityFX off and on. Now let me show you a game that I'm sure a lot of you are anticipating, like I am, at the back half of this year, Borderlands 3. So FidelityFX will also be integrated into Borderlands 3. And what we're showing here is a little bit before and after. So you can see in that yellow box, if you can't see it right now, there's actually little hexagons in there, honeycombs, if you will. And if you turn FidelityFX on, you'll see that it becomes a little sharper for you. And that's just going to add a next level of detail in the game, virtually for no performance hit at all. It's something that as game developers adopt this inside their game, it's just going to add that really nice touch for your gameplay. So let's take a look at it side by side. It pops off on the screen a little bit more for you.
Wow.
And we're super excited about this technology. We have a lot of game developers signed up to not only implement this, but they agree with us. The agreement is you shouldn't launch a new feature in a game that hurts a gamer's performance and then do trickery to increase the resolution and make it blurry. Our commitment to you is always launch features with less of a performance hit and everyone can enjoy day one. What do you think about that? Now, if there's a game that doesn't or has yet to adopt FidelityFX, we have a solution for you as well. It's called AMD Radeon Image Sharpening. Superior quality, no performance hit. This will be available the day the product is available in the market through our Radeon Software Adrenaline Edition. You can download it and enable it. It's going to give you pretty much the similar feature sets that FidelityFX will, and you'll see that same sort of nice crispness in games. And as I mentioned, we have data for you. Our promise and commitment to you is that when we introduce new features that increase the quality of your in-game play, virtually no performance hit versus our competition. What do you think about that? Very good. Now, esports. A lot of you in here are probably like me. You play AAA games, but you also play esports games. We care about responsiveness. How fast between you and what you're seeing on screen can your character move and respond? Frames per second matters. You also care about streaming from your GPU to either YouTube or Twitch. Let your friends or fans watch what you're doing. And of course, a fluid 90 frames per second of gameplay or more. We have a new feature and many new features in our software package that we're rolling out. But today, I would like to zero in on one that I think every Radeon gamer is going to enjoy right away. And this is called Radeon Anti-Lag. Let me talk to you about this feature. So if you love esports and you love beating your friends at esports, you now will have a chance to beat the GeForce GPU owners at esports. So let me talk to you about that.
Ooh.
This is essentially a new feature.
That's a big claim.
We all know, lag to a server when you're playing an esports game is one of the most frustrating things. And so we took a look at that and said, how can we improve the lag between the GPU and the monitor? And one way to do that is to take a look at how we deliver the software from the GPU to the monitor and see if we can mitigate some of that lag. This is the feature to do that for you. And what I'd like to do is bring Robert back up on the stage, explain a little bit about the demo and the feature and why esports gamers are going to love it. Robert?
Scott, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Okay. So gamers all the time, they talk about getting higher frames per second because that reduces input lag, or the time between clicking a mouse or pressing a button and that showing up on the screen. There's a name for that. It's called motion to photon latency. Click a button straight into your eyeballs. At 60 frames a second, that's about 4 frames worth of lag. 4 frames, that's a lot. So let's show 2 systems with the Radeon RX 5700 XT versus the RTX 2070, both running at around 60 frames a second. And in green, you can see that motion to photon latency. It's about 57 milliseconds from the time you press the button on your mouse or your keyboard to the time it comes out of the monitor into your eyes. Driving frame rates higher, that brings that number down. But what if there were a way to decouple the frame rate from the input lag? You could make that input lag lower even at the same frame rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable Radeon Anti-Lag, and you'll see that on the RX 5700 XT. You're going to drop to about 44 milliseconds of input lag, which is a full frame and a half of improvement over what you would have without this feature. So if you're looking for that competitive advantage in Dota, League, CSGO, where every frame matters, this technology can do it for you.
Very good. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot. I highly suggest when you buy a 5700, you just turn it on, you don't tell your friends, and see what they say.
Yeah, that's something we just have to test.
So let me just show you some data before and after. So these are across the most popular esports games using our brand new RX 5700 XT, both on and off. And you can see on average, you save about 31% of latency in the click to response on the screen, which is fantastic.
That really isn't
in the
bad.
very popular game Fortnite, it can be up to 35%. So if you want an advantage against your friends who have Radeon GPUs or the competition, just don't tell them you turned it on, and then watch yourself climb to the top of the leaderboard. Okay, so the real reason why all of you are watching here is how much is this going to cost?
Okay.
I think that's the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
He seems excited. Okay.
Leadership performance in its class in the $499 segment. The Radeon RX 5700 XT will be available for $449.
Okay. Hey, it is a lot better than $499. Nowhere near as good as early rumors that we were really hoping for, but not bad.
Leadership performance in the $399 segment. The Radeon RX 5700 will be available for $379.
It's really once you compare third party to third party that I'm mostly interested.
I am super excited about this. I'm super excited to bring you the best performance per dollar in the industry and without hurting your frame rates with new features and technology. I think that's what you deserve, and I'm so happy to bring it to you finally. Very soon, which is July 7th, which is my other announcement. So,
same day as 3rd gen.
lining up our complete ecosystem at AMD for all gamers. Brand new CPUs, brand new GPUs. You, in the back half of this year, can play all of your games with all of your settings turned up and enjoy a fantastic experience from AMD and the AMD group that is in charge of gaming. So I'm super excited about this. But there is one more thing you're going to get from us. And that next thing is we have a fantastic partnership with Microsoft. As you saw yesterday in the announcement they made yesterday, but we're also announcing today that when you buy a 5700 series GPU, you will be able to play Gears 5 and 100 other PC games, and you can also get that same bundle with select Ryzen CPUs. What do you think? Does that sound great?
How long do you get that?
Are you ready for a surprise or two?
Oh!
Okay.
Please.
Well, hey, look. Are you guys excited
There's no
about
way.
the 5700 XT and the 5700?
Yes, relatively.
Are those great GPUs?
But the CPU...
And guess what? I have one more GPU for you today.
Oh, wow. Was not expecting this.
All right, my friends. This is a very special GPU, and it's in honor of our 50th anniversary this year.
Okay.
This is the 50th anniversary
Please tell me it's
edition
clocked
Radeon
higher.
5700 XT. Now, is this incredibly gorgeous?
I've got to see the dent
now,
in real life.
I know it looks pretty.
It does
but
look
you
pretty
also want to
cool.
know what the specs of this card
But I
are,
feel like
don't you?
Ooh. Okay.
And this card
Super.
is the best of the best. The highest performer of the 5700 series at
Ooh.
40 compute engines and a boost clock of 1.98 gigahertz.
Wow. Unfortunately, that won't... I want to see what applications that will
Now, we
help
are
you
super
in.
excited about this special edition, and it's going to be available exclusively on AMD.com at a price of $499.
Oh, okay. 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 Okay, let's go ahead. Let's start with 5700, 5700 XT. 5700, $379, I believe it was. Yeah, $379 for the regular 5700. Now, I actually have to say that, let's see, that's the XT. Where is, hold on one second. Sorry about this. I was trying to get all this stuff ready, but also pay attention to her as well. Anyway, it had around an average of about 8 or 9% performance increase over the 2060. Yeah, we're talking about the regular 5700, not 5700 XT. So, what I find really interesting is that, I mean, I said it before, if it's the same price, NVIDIA wins, period. Even if they've got, say, 3, 4, 5% performance increase on average. But let's say that they actually have, say, 9 or 10, which seemed like that's what it was, around 9 or 10%. Once again, we're talking about the 5700, not 5700 XT, which I really should probably try and get that up here. Okay. Here, just for a bit of a comparison. Okay. All right, so 5700 is what we're talking about right now. And against the 2060, you know, about 8, 9, 10% performance increase, that matters. And it actually makes it enough to where you have to really ask yourself, are you going to want RTX, especially with it being about $20 or so cheaper? I looked up the 2070s to see where it was right now. Pretty much all of them, pretty much all the third-party cards are around 500. And then if I want to look up, because I haven't looked in a little while, so I didn't know if things. Ooh, okay. So the 2060 actually looks like, here, I'll show you right here. The 2060 actually does have some fairly decent priced cards. Now that's where we have to ask ourselves, what's going on with third-party cards? Didn't hear anything. I'm almost positive that they are working on it because we saw some prototypes over at Computex. So they're definitely working on it. It'll probably just release after July 7th. I've tried to contact one of my contacts that does AMD cards third party, and I haven't heard a thing. So my guess is that it's going to be releasing a good bit after. Now, they could be cheaper, but let's actually say that they are pretty much, the 2060 and 5700 are pretty much the same price. That's hard. You really have to ask yourself, are you going to use RTX? Let's say that it really does, because it seemed like the 5700 had the biggest edge when compared to the 2600 versus the 5700 XT to the 2070. So, 8-9%, that starts mattering. That starts to matter. And if they can actually get a little bit cheaper, that starts to matter even more. So the question you will really have to ask yourself is, are you going to be using these other features? And especially with the 2060, you're really getting to the bare minimum of what you want to include RTX on. And it's also why it's the only cards that have RTX. But the number one question, if you're not going to use it, it really might be worth it. But at the same time, let's say it's really only, once we get third-party reviews, which is really what a lot of this is dependent on. Once we get third-party reviews, if, let's say it's 5% or so, I don't know if that's worth it. It's really going to be hard. And I mean, especially whenever, overclocking is going to be a big thing. How well do these overclock? And then we also have to look at TDP. I believe I actually did not write down what the TDP was. Some of you guys probably will tell me, but regardless, almost always NVIDIA is going to be better now. With them being on 7 nanometers, I don't know. They have an 8 and 6-pin connector, which it's not amazing. It's probably pretty comparable to NVIDIA. So, I mean, assuming it is, which, yes, no one really cares that much about it, but because these cards are so similar, and, a lot of people are asking, but it was impressive. It's cheaper, which, as of right now, it doesn't look like it is, at least the 5700. Now, the XT is a different story. But the 5700, if it is cheaper, yes, pretty sweet announcement. But with the fact, as of right now, I mean, you have cards that are a good bit less. It's disappointing. I mean, the simple fact is that we were, 8 months out, 9 months out from when NVIDIA released theirs. I mean, if AMD released the 5700 and 5700 XT right alongside them, I feel like it would have been a lot more impressive. But we're talking many, many months. And now with NVIDIA going to be doing the super event, have no idea about that, by the way. I haven't seen any news or anything that they are going to be doing something at E3. I'm going to try and look it up probably as soon as I get done here. But, and I will try and cover it if they are going to be doing it. But maybe they're going to be doing their own little thing after. I really don't know. Either way, if they do end up announcing cards that are a little bit faster, and from what we've seen, prices could be going down upwards of $100 for current cards. That's not going to be good. I mean, as it stands right now, it does seem like a decent competition, and AMD clearly is trying to bring some kind of new, what did they have? The Anti-Lag. That's pretty cool. I want to try that out. I mean, these are things that, they use a lot of marketing speak for. So who really knows the difference you're going to notice, you're going to see? So you have to try them out. And as these technologies and techniques evolve over time, they also do get better. So, I mean, how they may be initially, like RTX right now, doesn't seem to be implemented that great, or at least, well, let's take a better example. DLSS was implemented horribly, but it seems to be doing much better as developers get used to dealing with the technology. That could be the same case here. I mean, anti-lag could become something that really matters, especially to more Twitch gaming. FPS, major esports games. But anyway, then when we have the 5700 XT, that one Now, that one I do think is probably the more impressive one, because I originally said it wasn't, but did not see just how pretty inexpensive the 2060 is right now. But either way, $449 for the 5700 XT, and let's see. That's who I had pulled up. I did not know that. Okay. We're looking at probably about 5 or 6% difference, but $50. So that matters. Now, if they were to do something, if NVIDIA were to lower their price a good bit, once again, you've got something with a feature versus without. It's a lot better to have something and not need it than to not have something and need it. It's just a fact. So right now, where things are at this very moment, this isn't bad. The 5700X, is it anything that we were hoping it would be? No. But the closer we got to it, the more I kind of got the feeling, I don't know. But the 5700 XT, with it being $50 cheaper, and I do believe I had this up. I mean, it actually is $50 cheaper than pretty much pretty much all of the 2070s. So with that fact, it matters, but at the same time, it's not $200 cheaper. And with this super event, a lot of things are really going to depend on that. But simply put, having a card that's $50 cheaper, as well as 5 to 10, maybe even slightly, sometimes 15% faster, that's a win. Absolutely. Even though it is 8 or so months later, but because it's been so many months, NVIDIA is likely going to, they are probably going to be able to lower the price, and that is something that's scary for AMD, I guarantee it. Unfortunately, we didn't get a full stack of GPUs. They did say that they were going to have, what was the exact term that they used? I don't remember, but basically it insinuated that there are going to be more. But unfortunately, this is all we're getting right now. And it does stink because, NVIDIA kind of had that excuse. Graphics card prices are just getting so much more expensive. NVIDIA had that excuse of, hey, we have all these new cores. We have all this new technology. We're trying to push things forward. It's a little more expensive or a lot more expensive, but you have certain things like DLSS that can give you upwards of double the performance. Not that great, but good. It can add frames by quite a bit. These are things that really matter. But now that AMD is now moving up in price right along with it, but yet aren't offering that, it just kind of, and the fact that they did it 8 months later, it just feels disappointing. Like I said, I feel like if it had happened right around the same time, not so much. But anyway, then as a lot of you saw, let's see, then she did something that I was not even slightly expecting, the 50th anniversary edition. And whenever I saw it, I was like, oh, this is just another one with the signature, with the gold. No, it actually has quite a bit more performance. 10.14 teraflops of computational power, 1980 max boost clock. That's not bad. I mean, that right there, and with the fact that is the exact same price, let's say that puts it at 10% higher performance to the 2070 at the same price. That matters. If you want 10% more performance by paying the same price, for a fact you're not going to use any of the RTX or anything like that, any of the ray tracing features, stuff like that, there's almost no reason not to get it. More games do seem to be using it, but at the same time, as of right now, it still feels like a gimmick. It does. Not every game has it, but a lot of games are working on it. So, don't get me wrong. Probably 6 months, 7 months from now, they could be totally different. And I also haven't kept up with it that well as far as what games offer it, what games don't. So, I don't want to say 100%, but 10% performance increase, that matters. But 8 months later, 7 months later, still kind of sucks. Or is disappointing. Let's just put it that way. Next, except once again, I really want to find out about the few new technologies that they did discuss. Is that little bit of a difference, millisecond-wise, in lag? Is that going to make a difference? Am I going to notice that? If I do, then hey, that can make a big difference for some people. Head on over discord.gg/gamermeld. Let me know what you guys think about the little bump, the dent. There were times where I was like, that looks pretty slick. But then there were times where I'm just, it looks like she dropped it. And it's odd because the 5700 doesn't look like that. And obviously there's more engineering that went into that. But at times it does just kind of look like somebody just took a hammer and just hit it with it. But let me know what you think about that. At least we'll probably get a lot of memes out of it. I don't know. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to edit this down a good bit. Please subscribe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and thanks so much for the 100,000. So excited about that. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.